Here with DeAndre Smith, running backs coach from Syracuse University's football team, here with Dan Tortora. And DeAndre, first and foremost, looking at this team, the elephant in the room, so to speak, Jerome not there anymore. He was the main go-to guy. How's it been transitioning from him?
Well, the guys right now have been doing a really good job. The thing that I'm fortunate to have is that all those guys were there last year, so we're familiar with all of them. When you lose a guy like Jerome, but you can have another guy like Prince-Tyson Gulley step up, and then Adonis, we're trying to get him going, and George Moore's and Devante. I feel pretty good with the transition that we'll be okay.
When you have a transition, but you have those guys that you mentioned getting involved, not so much Adonis, but on the side of Devante and George and Prince, obviously, over the last couple seasons, when you have guys that have had the experience, have had the ball in their hands, does it make your job any easier knowing that these guys kind of know what to expect a little bit?
Well, it doesn't make it easier. I've always lived by, as a coach, that everything is what have you done for me lately. So it does help that when I go in a meeting, those guys are familiar with my voice. They know my expectations, but after that, we still have to produce, and those guys are expected to step up and keep the thing going.
Obviously, you don't have them here in the spring, but you'll get them in the fall. As you're bringing in a running back, and what can you say as far as, it's only one guy in the class, but what made you take that person?
Well, he's dynamic, and we like a guy that can do a lot of things. Coach Schaefer refers to those guys as a three for. Could be a defensive player, could be an offensive player, special teams player. So he has a skill set that we like, and run through some lanes on offense, catch the ball out the backfield, tough enough that he can help us in special teams, things like that. So you just like an athlete that's a little bit bigger, a little bit faster, that can help us in what we're trying to do.
And speaking on Erv Philips, where does he kind of put himself in this situation, knowing that there's already four guys in front of him that have had experience?
Well, again, you give them a chance to come in and learn it, and it's always harder for freshmen just because they hadn't been here. And we'll take them and bring them along as fast as possible or slow as possible, depending on what the case may be. But if the kid can help us, we're going to try to make sure we give them all the tools to do that.
You and I had talked about the Midwest and that, Chicago area, and the fact that you were looking at Aaron Roberts for a long time, and now you're finally going to get him on the offensive line. He's not a running back, but he's going to be blocking for your running backs. What can you say about the success of getting somebody like him?
Well, again, it's funny because we put a lot of time into that one, and we actually were talking about another kid maybe down the road that you kind of have to decide on, hey, when do you pull the trigger? And I'm so glad that we did, because the kid is a tough kid. He fits the mold of what we like to do on offense. He'll be great in what we're doing because he's athletic and tough. So I'm excited to see him in the orange uniform here real soon.
And then as far as Prince and how he's come along, kind of honing in on his skills, how do you, after being with him for a season, how do you really define who he is and what the expectations kind of are off of his personality?
Well, as far as the expectations, again, expect him to be a leader. He has a great personality that way, and he has the ability to lead. Kids are listen to him, and he'll work hard. He's tough. He's physical. He's short in stature, but he's a power guy. He's physical. He doesn't mind running in between tackles, and we like to get him out on his face as well. So he's a kid that can do a lot of things for us, but I expect his toughness to kind of help us next year.
As far as keeping the ball in the guys' hands, that was something that you and I had talked about off the air. And how is the team doing holding on to the ball and protecting the ball so far in practice?
Well, we've been a little slow, shaky with it. And again, it's not really the big hits or anything like this. It's just been careless. Fundamentally, carrying it high and tight, keeping the elbow locked, things that can be fixed. And we met about it, and today we didn't put the ball on the ground, so it was great. So it was just, we needed a reminder to understand how important it is, because we did a great job. We lost 5 fumbles last season. We basically finished in the top 10 in the country that way. So it's there. We needed a little reminder of it, and I think we'll be okay.
When you look at this team moving forward and you look at the H-back situation where there are guys like a Corey Winfield to come up, a Brisley Esteem, maybe even a Corey Cooper, how involved are you with that aspect with the H-back? Is it more of George McDonald, or do you have a little piece?
No, that's Coach McDonald. He does. I deal with the fullback designation of the H, and that's when Clay Cleveland or Trayvon Burkett would be in the game. But, yeah, those guys, that's all Coach McDonald right there.
Are you a little bit upset that you don't get more work with Brisley Esteem and seeing what he's done?
Well, it's still early. You never know. But no, he's a dynamic football player. So anytime we can get him on the field, if he wants to be a running back, he can be a running back too.
When you see a true freshman do something like that, like you said, you bring guys along however fast you need to or slow you need to. When you get someone like a Brisley Esteem that can come on and be effective almost immediately, have you seen that a lot in your history as a coach, or is that something that's rare?
That's rare. I mean, he's a rare talent. He's explosive. He's dynamic. He has no fear. I think the one thing that's really evident is that his hands are great and he plays a lot of confidence. And he's tough. So I think when you add those combinations and he's cool and calm and collected, that kid is special. You don't just get those guys every year.
Bringing on a guy like Joe Adam for the offensive line, obviously a change from Pat Perlis. What have you taken away from Joe, and how is your relationship? Because obviously running back to offensive line, it's got to be a good relationship between the two of you to be a strong team.
Oh, absolutely, it has to be great. And I've known Joe in the past, so being familiar with him, that eases the transition that way. But it's been great. He's enthusiastic, coming in, and there's great energy in the room. So we have a lot of fun working together.
What would you describe your room as far as just looking at the running backs and you in a room, closed door? What do we maybe not see? Is there some comedy that goes on? Is there a lot of seriousness? How do you function as a group when you're just by yourselves?
We have the it's a lot of comedy involved, but we also have the ability we share ideas freely. It's hey, you can speak your mind there. I let those guys do that, and they understand. They can say what they want to say, and I can say what I want to say. And we have that kind of relationship that way. But when we want to have fun, we'll have fun. When it's time to work, we'll work. But it's a great room. I think they obviously know me and my personality, and we get along great, and it's been fun to work with them.
Before I let you go, Devante and George, these are guys that got some experience last season. What have they taken from last year into practice now, and where have you seen them develop moving forward?
Well, they don't have to think as much. They don't have to sit there and wonder what is this play. Now they can go out and react, and you can see that now. They play so much faster. They don't have to think about what to do and wonder if I know what I'm doing. So those guys really now are just getting a chance to go play, show all the tools that they have. We've all seen glimpses of it, but I expect those guys to really, really take another step in their careers to really help us.
Prince and Jerome obviously knew that it was going to be at least the two of them in the backfield, and at times it was three, sometimes four. Looking forward, under Scott Schaefer, under George McDonald, as you go ahead, do you see that there's going to be that kind of split back, or, can we expect to have the full arsenal and have 3 or 4 guys out there?
Oh, I would totally expect that we're going to use as many guys as we possibly can. So, yeah, it will not be just one guy toting the mail every down. I'm going to need all of them. We're going to play fast, so we're going to need fresh bodies. And the more guys I can keep ready to go, the faster and the more pressure we're going to put on defenses. So I expect my whole room to, at some point, participate in the game and help us win.
And lastly, with Adonis Ameen-Moore, this is a guy who a couple seasons ago before you came in, he had some experience in the tank package. Last year didn't see a ton of time. Where's he at right now? And I know Coach Schaefer has seen some positive flickers from him in spring practice, but what have you seen, and where does he kind of fit in right now for you?
Well, the more reps he's gotten, the better he's performed. And you can see that he does have great feet. And we just need to keep his weight down. We're working on that. He's doing a great job with that. And I suspect once he gets down to the weight that we want him to get to, he's going to be a pretty good player. Because, again, he can do some things now, and he's doing it at a bigger weight. And I can't wait to see what he looks like when he's actually down.
For sure.